There are times where it's like, it's not even worth my time.
No, I would tend to say I don't say that. What I do though is I look for patterns. I don't I don't typically think you coach a session. I think you coach a pattern, right?
Okay, yeah, agreed.
Yeah, over time. So what you want is multiple interactions with an individual where you can see things and hear things and see things and hear. And then you'll get the same. It's very funny. If you're patient enough, you will see the same behaviors and they'll stand out. And then you'll be able to aggregate and say, okay, I saw it on these occasions. You did this same thing, right? And this is why we're not reaching success.
Yeah. So when you give feedback to someone who takes it, what does that look like, Vince?
It's usually different. It's like, wow, I guess I didn't realize I was doing that, or gee, I'm surprised. Tell me about what did I do, right? And then you'll tell them like, oh my God, wow, I didn't realize that. Is there anything else? Like they're looking for additional information. They're looking for an example. You could feel the guard drop down because it's a scenario where it's like, gee, I didn't realize. I just, you could see the body language, like kind of the shoulders come down a bit, as opposed to a more lean in posture. Like, what do you mean? What did I do? Right. So you look for those key signals.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it's a better relationship. You're building on the relationship because now there's another silent trust level being put there. It's like, I'm going to take my time to help you get better by sharing this information. And now you're open to it. So I just want you to open up to hear the feedback. Just absorb it. Don't respond to it. I know some of this may give you a visceral response. And I love, have you ever done this? Because I know I do this. Sometimes people get into a place where they freeze and they're still trying to process and they can't get beyond the process. So they don't have the fortitude to say, hey, give me an example. So generally what I would do is, would you like me to provide an example of what I'm talking about to provide a little more clarity? Does that help? Is that helpful for you?
That is helpful. The question I use a lot of times is, did that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. Because, you lay something out to somebody and the question, did that make sense? I want to make sure that I'm communicating that in a good way. I don't think I quite got, let me give you an example. That gives me the opportunity to offer the example to that person who's kind of, they're locked in their thinking right now and they're stuck on the fact that there's something I'm not doing really well.
Yes, it's almost stunned. Okay, they weren't expecting that. So by saying, would you allow me to give you an example, or would you want me to give it, asking the question, it's almost like asking for permission. It's like, okay, you asked me to give you an example. You can't get mad at me now. So would you like me to give you an example? Yes. Okay. You give the example and they're like, that's not possible. Like, you said you wanted an example. I'm giving you an example. It takes the pressure off of the manager. So from a manager side, it takes the pressure off. And by offering that question, it takes the pressure off of the employee or the person that you're talking to, whether it's same level management, even upper management. It's like, I'm asking you for permission for me to, show you what I'm talking about. Because sometimes we just don't know. And it all starts with awareness. And I'm going to give that equation again. I'm loving equations these days, but awareness equals choice, which equals action, right? So if you're aware of something, now you have choices to do something or not do something. 2 choices, like I always say. And then if you decide to do something, now you can take action. And sometimes the action is doing nothing. So if you don't agree, maybe the action is getting another job because this doesn't resonate with you and it's not a good fit. That's not a bad thing. The sooner we discover we have the ladder on the wrong wall, the faster we get to, put the ladder on the right wall, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. And it's funny because I remember there was one assignment I had many years ago where you were videotaped. And they would play the videotapes back and they would play the videotape back in front of everyone in the room.
Yikes.
Exactly. And it's a very humbling experience. You learn very quickly how to take feedback, and because you can't argue when you're standing up there doing the things that I don't really do that. You did it multiple times. Let me show you where. So you're a little more like, thanks, that makes good sense. I appreciate that. That's the kind of response you hope without the videotape that you would get when you're with somebody. That makes sense. I struggle with that. Can you tell me how I can do that, please?
Yeah. 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 And that's in languaging and understanding and being open. Again, being open to not criticism, but some opportunity for you to get better at what you do. Feedback is not criticism. It is what their perception is. You may not agree with their perception for whatever reason, but being open to it allows you to make the options of change. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne and Vince Perrotta, and we're going to take a short break and come right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne and Vince Perrotta. If you'd like to be a guest or lift up your business or product or non-for-profit, or if you have a question or comment, especially about Vince, please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. I'll answer it, so it'll be fun. healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you and love the engagement and love your suggestions and recommendations. You all make this show great. So Vince, just a devastating day, right?
It made it a little tough day because there was a lot for me to process. When you're a coach, you're kind of disappointed when you're not successful. You always have someone's intention when you have to, good intentions at heart. When you have to deliver feedback, you do it with the best of thought and spirit, and you have some angst about it. Just like people have angst about receiving feedback, there's angst about giving it. Because
you don't know how it's going to be received. Yeah. We all want to be loved, but we all need to be seen and heard.
Right.
And when you're giving feedback that's not happy news, of course you have angst about that. And I applaud you for understanding that. Keeps the sensitivity guard up, I believe. Right. When we have to do that, even when I have to separate with my clients, there's angst there, and I don't want to disappoint. But if I can't take them to the next level, I don't want to waste their time or waste my time. So and as we always say, Vince, is as coaches we make suggestions. You make decisions. So all we're here is in the best interest to get you to success and see you be successful. That is our yummy space, right?
Yes.
So it may not be a yummy space with this one, though. It sounds like it's not going in the bestest direction, as my kid would have said.
No, it's not. But actually, it's going in the direction it's supposed to go in, because I also think that when you are resistant to hearing what you need to hear, you close yourself off to your own success.
I totally agree. And the advantage of feedback is give you the opportunity to adjust. Even in occasion, we have to adjust the chains on our bikes because they kind of get a little loose and we need to tighten those up. So the same thing with life. We need to adjust maybe the trajectory. And as we grow in our positions or grow in our expectations in our jobs, we need to learn to adjust. I like to look at it like this, Vince. We're all trying to navigate the waters. And if we're not going with the waves, it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be a tough ride. So I'm not saying roll over, but I am saying recognize that sometimes we have to just kind of move with it. We have to go with it. It's just easier, and you will see that it doesn't have to be difficult. And if you're not showing up for you, and I think some of the feedback comes to this, and maybe what you're dealing with too is coming back to this, is they're not only not navigating the waters, they're not hearing what you're saying. They're really stifling themselves from growth.
Sadly, yes, they are. Because you're going to continue to repeat the same behavior. We've all got blinders on at the end of the day. We've all got blinders on, hence the reason why there's always that, perimeter of feedback that we all want, right? We want feedback from the people that report to us, report from feedback that are peers, and report from people to whom we report. You kind of get that 360 perspective. And, the themes come out, but you're going to get different themes because those people are looking at you in different ways. Yeah,
but there's the yumminess there. Is that, listen, if I wanted to get good feedback, I just talk to myself in the mirror. Not to say I don't, but just saying. But, you can just talk to yourself. That's fine. And you will agree with yourself every time, I promise. It's true. But if you really want good perception, if you really want to grow as a human, if you really want to grow in your job and be better at what you do, look at those people who accept feedback gracefully. It's just it's just quiet. It's just, okay, let me hear it. All right, what do I have to do to make it better? What steps do I have to take to become better at what I'm doing? If someone didn't care about what you were doing, they wouldn't bother. They wouldn't waste their time to give you the feedback. They would just let you just, burn and what do they call it? When a plane does that?
Descent.
Yeah, they descend. And you won't grow. You're just gonna burn out, and you're not gonna last in that place. And 99% of the people never take that hard road. And once you do, and you make those hard choices and stay in the game, and it's really difficult. On the other side, it's so beautiful. But 99% of the people won't take that little bit of a ride. And it's short. It seems like it's going to be forever, but it's short. We recognize that we need to grow. Okay, let me make that change. We recognize some of the changes we would need to make. Let's do it. And that sometimes it's painful. It's like, because we're also not speaking nice to ourselves.
Yeah. We sometimes forget too, there are good examples that we can look at for coaching and feedback that we don't always take to heart, of incredible people and athletes that are out there. So, you take someone who is at the top of their game in golf, and their caddy is...
Stop talking about me.
Shameless plug. They're coaching the caddy is coaching that golfer the whole way. You watch those two together, and it's a really synchronous kind of relationship, where you'll literally see this tremendous golfer who can hit a ball right where they want it. They put that little backspin on it so it kind of sits, and the caddy will lean in and maybe suggest a different club, or say, hey, listen, make sure you're considering the wind, or whatever the case is, right? You talk about a coach, you got a kid on a basketball team, and the coach notices there's one funny thing about the release that kid has every time they put a shot up for a free throw. And the kids leaning into the coach like, all right, tell me. They want to know, because they want to hit that shot. I want to hit it every time. Why do we lose that when we get to adulthood and, we're in business?
But we don't, because the three things I look for all the time in clients for me is fire in your belly. That's the fire in your belly. It's like, give me more. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. With that little nuance of the change in the hand on the ball, to make that work every single time. Right. That's brilliant. And that, to me, is a brilliant individual to open themselves up. That also comes down to trusting the people you have around you. So you need to have a coach that you trust. So if there's that disconnect, where's the trust, right? Where you're not opening yourself up to allow this coach to take you to the next level. And if you're not, then don't waste your time with a coach.
And don't we all have a confidant that when you have a really bad problem, you go to that person and you go, I need your help. Can I ask you, I need your guidance on this. Listen to what I'm facing. And that person will talk to you and make suggestions and inadvertently say to you, I got to tell you something. I don't know that you made the best choice along the way. We've got a couple of things in here that we probably want to look at changing.
Yes, without a doubt. And honestly, it was you. You also did that. For me, I went to you. I had something. You gave me some hard feedback. I mean, it was hard feedback. It was hard for you to tell me, and it was hard for me to hear, but you weren't wrong. And I was like, okay, not happy. But I wasn't not happy at you. I was not happy that I put myself in a position to have that kind of feedback. But because of it, I'm so much better. Because of it, I recognize that, and I have awareness now. There's that word again. I have awareness now. So feedback brings awareness. That allowed me to make some choices to adjust or not adjust, and then gave me the opportunity to take some action. And listen, that couldn't have been easy for you, but I trust you. You are a confidant. And I knew that you were going to be painfully sometimes, but kindly honest with me. And you were very kind about it. And you were, and I mean this not as an age differential, because I don't think we have a big age differential, but you were very fatherly about it. There was a kindness about it, a caringness about it. There was also, I'm going to kick your butt about it, that all put together in a nice little ball made it such a good coaching experience for me and made me better. But see the difference in that is I was receptive to it. I wasn't loving the answer. I wanted to hear, no, you're great. Of course we all want to hear that. But I knew that I was missing the mark, but I couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't figure out what